Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. I welcome you all to this panel discussion on how to build a smart home using IoT home automation technology. First of all, I must congratulate Smart Home Expo on choosing this very pertinent topic in times where IoT, home automation, and smart home tech have become such important offerings for brands, OEMs, and ODMs worldwide. In fact, they are fundamentally changing. We deliver value to the end consumers. While there is no doubt that utility and convenience has been one of the primary forces behind increased adoption of IoT in appliances and consumer durable space. However, in the way things have unfolded in last 6 months, and because of increased skepticism in every aspect of how we humans are looking at various things, I believe use cases of IoT which are going to build trust and also enforce some compliance are also going to be a thing for us in the future. So, with this panel discussion, we are going to focus on gathering viewpoints with respect to where we are with respect to our journey of building IoT and smart home technology stacks. What are the challenges that we face, and also take a peep into what future holds for us. We are going to discuss and deliberate on various key points related to IoT and smart home tech and get perspective from our panelists. So, with this brief introduction about what the webinar is going to focus on, let me move towards introduction of the panel that we have. So, first of all, we have Mr. Paresh Patel. Paresh is President and CEO of System Level Solutions, INC. Paresh is an information technology fanatic with a businessman attitude, a significant contributor to the current IoT advancements and smart solutions to the current real world problems. Paresh believes in bringing change in every infrastructure to reflect the difference at ground level. Uh, the primary goal as founder, he hunts for creative ways to streamline the production path for better product design and innovation. As an entrepreneur with a vision to bring about real challenges, Paresh laid down cornerstone of SLS in a hotel room in Sunnyvale, America. Further to hunt his better opportunities, he moved to his home state, Gujarat, and founded SLS. Welcome, Paresh. We also have Mr. Nitesh Vasant. Nitesh has over 30 years of experience building and innovating for telecom and lighting industry. He has led, managed, and executed projects for both public and private sectors and is determined to lead changes in Indian IoT space with Tuya. Welcome, Nitesh.
Hello.
And last but not the least, we also have Mr. Ashish Bajaj. Ashish is CEO and co-founder of Elear Solutions. Ashish is an innovative and hands-on leader with deep expertise in various system engineering roles. He has held various positions at Qualcomm India, and throughout his career, he has built various high-performing system engineering teams and scalable systems. Welcome, Ashish, to this webinar.
Thanks, Arpit.
Currently driving a lot of adoption. So, with this, Ashish, I'll move over to you. And given that the work that you're doing at LER has a lot to do with smart TV experience, I mean, I would like to touch upon what are the use cases that you are seeing that are driving the adoption.
So yeah, I think I agree with Paresh and Nitesh. I think adoption and awareness, actually the last 3 years, I think in India has been more about driving awareness, and it's been very well driven to lighting, consumer appliances, voice assistants. And I think one really big area that people probably don't talk about much, but it's actually happening a lot, is IP cameras. Cameras are actually very popular IoT device that gets used. The killer use case for everyone has been, why does a person invest? I think remote control, rules, voice control, those kinds of convenience, safety, and security are the key triggers today for consumers to make a purchase. When they're looking at deciding on buying a new appliance or a new device, they're usually weighing out the value through these three metrics, right? Does it improve my safety, security, or convenience in some way? But having said that, I think now that the adoption and awareness, so there's still a long way to go in adoption, but I think there's been a lot of awareness that's been done, a lot of TV commercials, etc. So I think now it's time to look at unlocking value beyond remote control and value. And so that's why our company's been focused a lot on areas around interactive entertainment, areas around assisted living, using the TV or centralizing everything around the home using the TV. And we believe that these kinds of areas will expand the scope of smart home. Smart home will become, like in our company, we don't call ourselves a smart home company. We call ourselves a company where we are working on digital living. Digital living is essentially the digital transformation of the consumer's day-to-day lives, right? We talk about digital transformation of energy, digital transformation of industry 4, whatever else, right? The consumer also, our lives are going through a digital transformation, and that's digital living, right? And I think we'll be touching a lot of different areas of our personal lives, helping elderly, helping disabled, enjoying entertainment in various ways. And it all starts maybe with people using more easy to understand use cases like lighting, and then progressing towards that. So I think today's adoption is driven through all the cases that Paresh and Nitesh spoke about. And I think we're at that cusp where newer use cases are starting to percolate around these other areas that I spoke about.
So with this, Ashish, I'll love to take your points on the challenges that you see that we need to overcome.
Right. I think, y'all have probably covered a whole spectrum from OEM, device maker, the challenges there. I want to talk more from a consumer perspective and talk about two challenges that an end consumer sees today. I think, cost is very clear, that I think Paresh hit upon. But I think beyond cost, the issue is what I call the cost to value ratio. What is the value that the customer is deriving from a connected product, right? I mean, just connecting, for example, an air conditioner to the internet and claiming it's IoT, right, is probably there's a fallacy in that approach, because all you're doing is allowing remote control, right? And no one's sitting in the room and replacing a remote control with a phone, because that doesn't change anything, right? So the value comes when you start networking things together in a common network. And I think interoperability was spoken about, but beyond just looking at the low-level physical protocols of Zigbee, Z-Wave, BLE, etc., let's talk about horizontal platforms where you can aggregate things and make that enable a lot of value for the end user. I think that's the good thing that I see is the industry is moving in that direction, and this will create a lot of new unique value, which is largely untapped in today's offerings in India, I believe. The second thing that I want to touch about is privacy. I've got many friends actually who don't want to install smart homes because they don't want to lose their privacy. Now, I don't want to mix up security and privacy. A lot of times it's often done. Security is keeping the network hack-proof, right? Keeping it safe from people stealing your information or using your devices is what security is about. Privacy is about making sure your life is not intruded upon by either the platform or the services by the service provider himself. Right. I mean, look at, like we traded our privacy to companies like Google because we wanted free Gmail, right? Or we wanted a free social media like Facebook. But are we willing to do that for IoT kind of devices where the information gets even more personal? It is more about my health. It's about my mood. It's about presence, where I am. It's about routines and not just where I am in the world, but where I am inside my house as well, and kind of routines that I live. What do I eat? I mean, there's so many things that IoT is going to touch. Quite easy to see how things can slip into an Orwellian future, 1984, right? So lots of consumers I've spoken about care about this. And at our company, we've taken these two paradigms and created a technology solution to these problems using something you spoke about, which is peer-to-peer, and say, how can we use that to still be interoperable, still have that platform approach, yet be open and yet solve privacy, right? How do you achieve something like that? It's a it's quite a tough problem to solve, which we've been trying to fix at our end through a solution.
Mm-hmm. So one quick question here again for you, Ashish. I mean, would like to take your views on since there is no standard protocol or per se. I mean, there is no standard as such. I mean, in your experience, do you see this as a challenge or as an opportunity?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, there's certainly opportunity when the market gets fragmented, right? Because then you can carve out something for yourself in the fragmented market. One of the problems of having everything unified is it starts getting aggregated, and then usually one or two companies will dominate it. So in that sense, yes, sure, there is, the fragmentation does help startups like us to at least get in, right? But is it challenging? Of course it is. It has challenges for end consumers. I think you guys touched upon it, right? Making choices of the kind of device to buy, whether devices get outdated really quickly. The way to bridge it is, you probably create these universal gateways or devices that can speak multi protocols, and then just integrate it again into the whole system. So there's a solution to it. Comes at a little bit of a cost, but there's certainly a solution.
True. Ashish, I'm going to move over to you. You did mention about the digital living concept, right? Because that is something I would like you to dwell more on. Because, anyway, that's pretty much tied to the question that I have: future in next 3 to 5 year horizons. I mean, just share your thoughts on the digital living concept here.
Yeah, so digital living, the way we look at it, like I said, was the transformation of your life, and that has to consist of use cases that generate a lot of value. The cost value ratio has to be such that the value derived by the little cost, or even if it's a big cost, the value derived is equivalent to the cost that I'm paying. So couple of things around there is, we feel that digital living, the entire concept cannot be delivered by one company or one service alone. I wouldn't say one company, but cannot be delivered by one service alone or one entity alone. It has to be aggregated. It has to be a player in the market that can bring together many market forces and deliver it. So one of the forces that we think, or two forces that will play extremely important role, are actually telecom companies and internet service providers. So from a 3 to 5 year horizon perspective, at least what Elear Solutions believes is adoption for IoT will be driven through a service model that is created by telecom companies. And the impetus for them, and I explain why. I mean, if you look at what happened to them over the last decade, 4G launched around 2011, 2012 in India. And broadband and ISP, we went from, 1 Mbps being the premium thing. Today, 100 Mbps in at least big cities is a standard, right? Everyone has 100 Mbps. Differentiation for these companies has become very hard. ARPU has fallen, average revenue per user. So these guys are very hungry to look at IoT and digital services as being an important ingredient in their strategy. So what we do at Elear Solutions is we've taken this horizontal platform that we call COCO, which is a digital living platform, and we take it to telecom companies and help them build services in digital living. May it be connected entertainment, interactive entertainment, assisted living, connected cars, connected infotainment inside cars, ability to deliver digital services over the same hardware. So without changing hardware, the ability to create an app store economy. So let me just give you a very straightforward example. I have an IP camera at home. The IP camera is watching over my kids when I'm not at home, and I check in on them now and then, right? Mm-hmm. But what if the IP camera could actually detect fall, right? If they actually fell down while playing or something like that, and I don't have to check in myself, right? Now, the same IP camera, without changing hardware, if I can install a software service called fault detection, I am, as an end user, willing to pay 50 rupees, right, a month to get that service and pay it to the telecom company who's offering me these kinds of services. So that is the concept that we are proliferating with COCO, is create a digital app store economy, build digital living services that can extend your consumer hardware in an aggregated fashion, in a way where you can make them interoperate in a network of things with consumer privacy at the heart of it, right? And I believe those are the way that adoption will grow, because the telecom companies know how to make it cheap. They've done this for handsets in the past, in various parts of the world.
So, with this, Ashish, would like to hear your thoughts on how you are easing the adoption curve for smart tech.
Yeah, well, the road to the future is, I think, going to be a long and exciting road. I think IoT is still in its very early stages, of adoption, and there are going to be multiple pit stops and many opportunities along the way to sort of make create value, as well as revenue opportunities for all the entire ecosystem. So till date, I mean, if I have to recap, how we've looked at it is, we see lighting, security, convenience use cases with isolated wall gardens and onesie-twosie cases as what defines smart homes today. With a platform approach, which I think Tuya has taken, we are taking, others have taken, right? You're taking up with. That approach is an exciting part. It's going to be focused on ecosystems and building ecosystems. That will unlock a lot of new value for users and consumers specifically. And I think hopefully will bring down the cost because of adoption as ecosystems grow. From our perspective, the additional value add, which I was probably referring to earlier, is, can we throw in software to extend hardware, right? If I buy, like, why is a cell phone, if you rewind to 1995, and you would buy a cell phone, it could do message, it could not even do message back in 95, maybe 98 or something, right? So you could do SMS, you could do voice call, and you could play a game called Snake on it or something like that, right? That was the entire value of a cell phone back then. But when you made it an app store approach, an app store economy, and enable software related services to come on top to extend, I think Nitesh spoke about schools, hotels, I don't know, there are so many different use cases where these ecosystems can actually derive value and use cases without changing hardware. You're actually taking a software approach. And not everything needs to be an app, right? There are going to be things that are without an app. They're actually services. They're headless services. You don't see any user interface except for it just does things for you magically. A good use case is, imagine if I actually installed a service on my telecoms digital service network on their app, right? Which says, hey, this service can improve your energy efficiency at home. And I go and install it. And I say, okay, you know what? I don't know what this thing does. I'm just going to install it and see, because it has 14-day trial period, right? So I go ahead and install it. And it, after 5 days, says, hey, Ashish, I noticed that this room, this air conditioner, every afternoon for 2 hours is left on. Would you like me to create a rule that switches it off automatically and manages that for you in an energy efficient manner, right? Now that is value to me, right? And I didn't have to go and install a new air conditioner for it, because I already had an air conditioner which was part of, let's say, the COCO ecosystem. And the telecom company could deliver this service on top and charge the consumer, I don't know, 50 rupees, 30 rupees a month for it. So I think that there are various interesting opportunities, and I call all of these digital living, right? And the next decade is definitely exciting, and me and my entire team at Elear is really excited to be participating in a small but definitive way in this journey.
Someone anonymously asked, I think it's for Ashish, curious to understand how does Elear Solution deals with interoperability and use of edge computing to manage latency?
So we built our platform. So let me first define some terms, because I don't know if everyone in the audience is familiar with the term edge computing. So edge is essentially close to the device and not, it's on the edge of the network, not the heart, the cloud of the network, right? So it's the cloud, if you think about, is a really distant computer from where your device is, right? So edge computing is where you move a lot of the processing away from the cloud and closer to the device. In fact, our solution actually pushes it completely into the device. And of course, we create a network of edge to edge devices. So basically we form a fabric which communicates between devices and does not need to go to the cloud to manage that connectivity. And it does it all over any physical protocol. So it could be Wi-Fi, Ethernet, anything that has TCP IP, UDP IP on it, we form a mesh network. So how we deal with interoperability is, like everyone else on this panel, we will use an aggregation point. It could be a gateway, which aggregates all the protocols in. Additionally, if you don't want to, aggregate with legacy protocols or existing protocols, we have our own protocol which uses this mesh network. So you can just create a device very quickly using our SDK. It takes less than 5 minutes to create a device using COCO's device SDK. Compile it, add 2-3 devices, they all form a mesh. You can create a client application and it works peer-to-peer. Now, because it's peer-to-peer, the latency is extremely low. You don't have to go to the cloud and round trip for just, like for example, to switch on a light bulb. Do I really need to send my data to a cloud sitting in Singapore and it coming back and saying, okay, now you can switch on your light? It should just happen in the local network. It should self-organize itself and work in that area. So that's how we manage latencies. We dynamically measure the paths between each of these mesh nodes and then choose the packet path that is smallest. And we've got actually 2 patents in this area for peer-to-peer networking, both in the US, or I won't say we've got it, we've got provisional patents and they're under review right
I think a lot of questions are coming now. So here's one again for you, Ashish.
Okay.
It's from George, head of solutions from True Digital Thailand. It's a telco. And he wants to ask you, can you please share your thoughts on how peer-to-peer technology can help promoting and protecting the user privacy? How this could be leveraged by a telco company as a service provider?
Great question, Jorge, I guess, right? So we, I think peer-to-peer technology allows us to use edge, like I spoke about. So you could push all the data to the device rather than actually storing it in the cloud. We and our protocols allow you to create a home cloud experience for the end customer. And you could use the television as an aggregation point for that, because the television comes with a pretty decent chipset that can do intelligence as well. So you can do things like fault detection, I spoke about that, person identification, and various things. So if you form such a peer-to-peer network, you can actually run everything in the local area network. And how the telco can leverage it is we license this entire horizontal platform to the telco. They are able to white label the platform under their own brand name, install it in their network, install it in their devices, and leverage it for every single service that they launch.
So I think, if we want to thank all the panelists, and Sandeep, first of all, thank you to you for organizing such a great panel discussion. I think it was very informative, and there was a lot of participation from the attendees as well. And at one point, I was looking at the number of participants. It was a plus of 130. Usually, do not see that kind of participation in webinars, given that in lockdown, with the kind of fatigue that everyone has had for webinars, that was a very good participation. And thanks, Paresh, Nitesh, Ashish, for pitching in with your thoughts and views with respect to how various points that we discussed during this panel discussion. Really appreciate you guys candidly sharing your thoughts. And finally, Sandeep, thank you again, and Smart Home Expo team for organizing this.
Thank you, Arpit, and thank you, Paresh, Nitesh, Ashish, for joining this. And hopefully,
it was my pleasure.
Some more insightful sessions, technology-based. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks for giving us the opportunity. Really appreciate what you guys do at Smart Home Expo, and hope we can get back to physical.
Also, yesterday we got a good news. Government has allowed holding B2B exhibitions from 15th of October. Of course, we will not be announcing anything soon, but we are thinking of having a show in Mumbai in June 2021. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say 16th October. You're going to.
Not possible.
All right. Thank you, guys. Nice catching up with you all. Great.
Yeah, nice catching up with you all.
Okay. Keep connected.
Bye.
Bye.